In our law firm, we primarily handle family law and divorce cases. And to segue, there is often a question about what happens with pets when you're in a divorce. So I'd like to talk about how we handle pets in a divorce situation and what you can do if you have a pet that you somehow need to decide what happens if you're splitting up with your spouse. So it's true, and it's nothing new for me to say, that people treat their pets like their children sometimes. You hear the term fur babies, and people are very attached to their animals. And oftentimes they consider them they're very young children. I've got a friend who has a stroller for her dog, um, and it's a unique bond. But in Texas law, however, pets are considered property. So when you are engaged in a divorce, no matter how emotionally attached you are to the animal and how much sentimental value the animal has to you, if it comes down to the court deciding what happens with your pet, the court is going to treat your animal as if it was just a piece of property, like your car or your computer or what have you. And that often makes it very difficult to decide what to do when you're engaged in a divorce, when everything is being split up. Who's going to get FIDO, and who's going to take care of the needs of the animal, and who's going to pay for that, and things of that nature. So again, we have to talk about the basic property issue in Texas in a divorce: community versus separate. Now, if you have your pet prior to coming into the marriage, and it's obviously going to be a marriage of short duration, and you've had the animal, then your pet may be considered your separate property. So if you own FIDO prior to being married, and now you're getting a divorce, FIDO will probably be awarded to you as your separate property. Can't divide it in the divorce. However, if you got an animal while you were married, under the inception of title rule, which basically means when you got it, if it was before the marriage, then it's separate. If you got it after the marriage, it's community. If you bought the pet while you were married, it's going to be considered community property, just like any other thing, and you have to somehow decide who gets the pet or how are you going to handle that. Now, a lot of lawyers will just put this in the column of the property, put some kind of arbitrary price tag on the animal, and consider it a piece of property and divide it that way. But that's not the way it is for a lot of Texans. They consider as I say, they consider their pet their child. Now, we've experienced that in the past, and we've come up with more creative solutions other than either he gets it or she gets it or what have you. We've come up with actual sort of custody arrangements in the final order, which have been fairly successful. In other states like California, they actually have custody laws about animals, much as we have for children here in Texas. But that's not the state of affairs here in Texas. In Texas, again, it's just going to be a piece of property. But you can come up with an agreement with your soon-to-be former spouse about how to handle the pet. I have had arrangements with the other party and put into decrees where the party, one of the parties had the primary custody of the pet and the other had weekend visitations. They lived close by, wanted to take the dog to the park, things like that. And that seems to work out for them. And we treat them like we would for children. By agreement, it can be done. Also, there is the opportunity to co-pay for veterinary treatments and things like that. All kinds of creative things can happen if you get an attorney who's willing to take the time and effort to appreciate how important your animal is to you and fight hard both for you and for the best interests of your pet. So the trick is, of course, just to find an attorney who's willing to do that. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope you are back to or getting back to normal in your household. And if there's anything we can do here for you at the Palmer Law Firm, please let us know. If you get any comments about this broadcast, live or otherwise, please leave a comment below, and be safe.